Welcome to Season 4 of KinWomen ALOUD, a space for thoughtful, honest conversations between women who are living, learning and evolving together. In this season, we're exploring wisdom, not as something abstract or distant, but as an inner compass that shapes our values, our choices, and the way we move through the world, including how we relate to money and power. Join us around the table for conversations that really matter. You are our kin.
Welcome to KinWomen ALOUD, a podcast for women and by women, aiming to talk about all the things that matter. And today on our episode with my lovely friends, we are going to be talking about personal values, our principles, convictions, the ideals, you know, that sense of code that we have to our life. Can we articulate what guides us, what makes the decisions that we have? Our values sit below the surface, but they are what guides and helps us in our days to come. So I'd love for you to meet my co-hosts, Kelly Chisholm.
Hello, hello.
And Penny Webb.
Hello.
This is going to be a nice chat.
This is going to be great.
And today we have a little check-in that we'd love to lean towards, but we are getting older, girls. How did that happen? How are you going? And tell me one thing that you love about getting older.
Oh gosh, I'm going first.
You go, because I got a long list.
Well, we've talked about some of this before. My word is unbuttoned.
Yes.
Being me, being open and leaning to who I always thought and believed I was. Anyway, my 35-year-old son sent me this absolutely gorgeous message the other day, and we'd gathered for Christmas and New Year and gone camping, and I'd sent him a message just saying how proud I was of him as a new parent of the little Peter. Anyway, he wrote back this, and this is what he said. "It's a big year for you too, and it had me thinking a lot about you. It's a big, wonderful new relationship you've found yourself in, and with that, a way to open yourself to your feelings and needs, something that you learnt from a young age not to do. Feeling very proud of you too."
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my gosh.
A text message from an adult son.
I know. It's
The
just
dream.
beautiful. But I think he's nailed it. You know, there are times when we kind of like push down a little bit of who we are for lots of different reasons. And yet I find myself at this age going, oh, man, I just love being more authentically me. And I always knew that girl was there.
Yeah.
You know, but for responsibility and other reasons, you know, you suppress some of it. But no, here we go.
Oh, I have so many more questions.
Yeah,
Ken.
yeah.
I want to know how to parent a child so that when they're an adult, they want to engage with us in those ways. Maybe we can hold that for later. Kel,
I
getting older.
honestly love so many things about being older. It's phenomenal. I love the freedoms that I feel now, the more autonomy for the things that I love. And, you know, I know I have learned I'm not selfish because it couldn't be. I can be completely selfless. So it's not that, but it's this sense of knowing what these days I get to nail different priorities. I get to have this incredible compassion and live it out for people. There's this contribution I can make. I remember reading recently that you get to do your best work in your 60s, and I'm like, I'm in that.
I love that.
And I feel like it's true. So, you know, there's the things you've got to navigate. Health is one key thing. Keeping relationships beautiful and fresh and not taking things for granted. Keep valuing the things you've always valued. But golly, there's a lot of beauty happening for you in your 60s and
I
70s.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I'm not in my 60s, but I am coming up to my 50s. And what I love is my kids that are an older age. Like, I hear so many people say how tough it is to look after teenage children. And I know that there is going to be times of challenge, and there have been times of challenge, but I just love having great conversations with my kids and like just journeying with them and celebrating who they're becoming. And it's a really different phase of life, but I'm really, really loving it. And yeah, I just think sometimes we all say, oh, teenagers are terrible. And I'm like, oh, actually,
Oh no, I really
They're not.
love those. I love those 10
They're
years. I really
fabulous.
did. But you know what? Not everyone's navigating that one easily. But
No, and
better
we all
days
have
are
different
ahead.
experiences, you know, and I sit with compassion towards that. And, but forgo me, you know, like I don't know what's going to come tomorrow, but I'm loving it today, which is great.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful.
so nice. I love being this
Beautiful.
age.
Well, welcome to today's conversation on personal values, the quiet foundations that shape who we are and how we live. Values guide our decisions when no one is watching. They anchor us under pressure and they stop us from becoming someone we don't recognise. And they influence our relationships, work, and our, you know, those life choices that we wish we hadn't made. So in this podcast today, we're going to explore why choosing your values on purpose is essential for building a grounded and a meaningful life. So let's begin, girls. Let's start with clarifying. So what do you think values are? What do they mean to you? Is it just a fad, like a new life coaching phase?
I don't reckon. I reckon we've always had them, but we just haven't said them. Do you know what I mean? And some of them we've had have been like passed down from parents and we just live them out without thinking about them. But I reckon if you kind of step back from yourself, you could see what mattered to you. But I think the different thing in culture today is people saying, oh, golly, you know, I mean, I don't get into this, you've got to write them and, you know, I mean, gosh, I probably sound...
Yeah, you're making fun of me and I write books like this. So
She does. But you know, some people go, oh, you got to put them on your wall. But I'm not into all that. But there's
Yeah,
something
but you've got a
about...
wall in your head.
I do have a wall in my head. But I have these things, these filters, and I know
the
what
filters.
matters to me. And I am the immovable object on what matters to me. You know, if someone... That concept of loyalty, if someone wants to talk about my friend, that is just not happening.
yeah.
That is not going to happen. I know. Talk about my kid. You know what I mean? No. Loyalty is like this. It's like a value. Whereas, you know, you look at banks when they went through this period where everyone used to just write them on the reception when you walked in, the
corporate
that we are
identity.
integrity,
Yeah,
you know, all this kind of nonsense.
And it's like, I'm not feeling very integrous right now, mate.
when I heard the stories about you, but that's the challenge, is to make it meaningful and not just to make it pithy.
Yes.
That's a good word, isn't it? Pithy, anyway.
It's lovely. How about you, Pen?
Oh, I think they are the filter.
Yes.
And the question is how do we arrive at those? How do we know what they are? And I know we're going to talk about that, but they're the principles, they're their core. And the key is to know what they are, because if we are here to live our life through them, we better know what they are.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I think that unarticulated values are often the source of conflict in our world.
Oh, I would say in relationships,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
it's like an assumption. We grew up and you eat dinner at the table. We grew up and you ate dinner watching TV. And there's a value of face-to-face, and there might be a value of actually just zoning out and chilling and eating in a more casual way, you know. Not both of those points of view are wrong. It comes back to values. It comes back to, and when they're unarticulated, they often cause conflict.
Or they only come up in a crisis, right? And then that's one of those great things they do these days before marriage. You can do that marriage counselling. You know, when you do that questionnaire and then the counsellor, I think it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, they do a questionnaire and it's across 7 different areas, you know, family, money, family, home, children, you know, these things. And then what they do is you do it completely separately. Then they bring you back together and say, hey, here's where the discrepancies.
Yeah.
And what you don't realise is they were the value that what you put on something. And one of the biggest divisions is money.
Right.
Money,
Well,
way
I'm
people
looking
see
forward
money.
to us talking a little bit more about money in an upcoming podcast, which is going to be great.
That's why I like folding money in with some of these conversations, because sometimes it's the real pragmatics. It's not just this ethereal values as if it's just conceptual. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know the proverb that says a woman builds her house, but a foolish woman tears it down with her hands. And I think that's the thing. You're building something.
Yes.
You know, you're not accumulating something, which to me, accumulation is you're just gathering left, right, centre, no. A building, when you build something, you've got a blueprint.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what you're building on,
you
don't you?
know what you're building, as
Yeah.
opposed to you got a pile.
Yeah,
You got a pile of something, not quite sure what the purpose of it is for. In fact, you wouldn't even be able to articulate what the pile is. But when you build something, it's clear. You know, you've got a blueprint here, and that's the filter.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a really good reminder, like a litmus test, you know, that sense of, you know, like I found myself in a challenging period at work, and I wrote out my values on a really scrappy piece of paper and put it up like right next to my computer. So I'm in a Zoom meeting, and off to the side I have the list of my values that
Is
are
that
sitting
right?
there. Yeah, totally. It's actually in my office still right now. You can see it sitting there.
Yeah.
But that came out of a time where my values were being questioned and stretched, and like I wanted to come back to the sense of who I am. I want to live a compassionate life. I want to be an encourager. I am a creative person. I am a leader who loves to help people. And to give strength and courage, and just having that list of my values next to me as I did my everyday is incredibly important.
It goes back in that proverb you did say, which is a wise woman builds a house, right? That's the first part.
That's the first
then it
part.
goes, you know, a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. But I think what you're saying is that wise woman builds a house. Like there is a sense of what are you building it on? Like what are, you know, if you're going to build it.
Yeah, it
so I
becomes-
think knowing those things and however you capture them,
Yeah.
it actually is, awareness is critical.
Yeah, and like a visualization of that would be like the architecture plans of what you're building in your
That's
life.
right. Well,
And the
otherwise you're
sense
just
of
going with the
articulation.
flow.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge of today. Like, is there's just people are grabbing, and I think that's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, I just think when you have clarity of actually, no, this is what I stand for.
This is what my family stands for.
This is what my family stands for. This is
Yeah.
what I stand for. So when you're in the workplace, when you're with your friends, when you're in community, this is what I stand for. This is important to me, as opposed to you just drifting, you're grabbing, and you're constantly making choices because you're not sure. I reckon that's exhausting.
I think it is as well. And I think that we live in a day and age where there's a lot of defensive values.
Oh.
And I'm not sure it's actually our responsibility to defend our values for others. I actually think your values should be enough for you and your family to live out your days, to make the choices that you are. And if you spend your life defending your choices, it is incredibly exhausting. And it's like, actually just live it out. Let the fruit of your values lead the life that you believe you should.
And I think that, you know, that probably we talked about, it's like they're underneath the surface, the foundations. They're not always obvious. I think they do become obvious when you live them because people see them over time. But I think initially they're not there to be defended or shown to everyone. It's like, hey, no, I'll come to here. And that would be a really nice thing to ask each other, you know, what do you see in me as being my values? That, you know, I might articulate them, but it'd be quite interesting to think what my friends think my values are without me having to have gone into them.
It's great.
You know,
Well,
nice
what
little
do you
thought.
think? What do you think Pen's values are, Kelly?
Ooh. We've known each other a long time.
We have known each other a long time. And I know that one thing she would definitely, one thing I've always heard with Pen, and because, you know, there's been some difficult days, as most people only see your good days in a public sense, but seeing your difficult days, I'd say you've that commitment to not getting bitter about things, not remembering things even with bitterness or with regrets, but more even that thing you say no regrets, but it's actually the way you live. You know, you don't hold on to things, you don't punish people. You don't think, oh, that wasn't good just because there was some difficult points. You see the beauty in it. I reckon that's like a really been a core value to you, which makes life so sweet now.
Well, I think it's definitely one for me, like better, not bitter, has kind of been my little word to myself, because I just think there have been times when actually, like, I've been treated cruelly.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
know,
like
I
there's been
know.
much unkindness. And you just have choices at those junctures, don't you? It's not like it doesn't hurt. It's not like you don't acknowledge. But I got to thinking recently, because something happened, you know, as stuff does.
Yes.
And I got to thinking, you know, like I'm I'm the CEO in a workplace environment, but I'm also the CEO of my life, you know, and no one else is. And accepting people as they are, but placing them where they belong. When somebody does wrong to you, you know, I'm not going to hold it. Like, why would I hold it? Because you know what? It's not going to hurt them. It's going to hurt me more than anyone and those that I love. So this is the better, not bitter. But at the end of the day, also saying, I'm going to place you where you belong.
Yes.
And I'm okay with that. You know, but if I bumped into you, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
But whether I trust you in that way again, I won't. And that's okay too.
Beautiful, beautiful pen. What value would you see in Kelly?
Oh, loyalty is a big one for her. I think, she's very loyal. Loyal as a friend, loyal as a mum. And how I see that and how I have known it is I can share anything with her. It made me cry. Yeah, and I have, you know, deepest, very dark times. And I trust her. I trust that she is not going to tell every man and his dog about it, that she's going to bring her wisdom to it, but go, you'll be okay. And, loyalty is a big one.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
Kind of the things that build friendships, if you want friendships, you know, which is friendships are really important value to me. Yeah. It's not family only. No. My friends are the family I definitely choose, you know, and I'm very, very close to family, so I don't have a limited family unit. But my friends I choose, and I choose them to be family. That's the way I want it. You know, my friends are not the next ring out.
No.
They're just not, especially my close friends. So, I think it's, I think the other value that I find is so important to me is the value of optimism.
I love that.
I'm such an optimist.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a completely cockeyed optimist. But I think tomorrow has full of possibilities.
I love that.
It's so good. It's so good.
I love that.
What about you though, Amanda?
Yeah.
In my Gallup strengths test, like there's a sense of like optimism is one of my top 5
Is that
strengths.
right?
Yeah.
I would think
and
that
I think
too.
it's
I definitely would
actually
see it,
described as positivity.
Yeah.
Like I will take whatever's happened and turn it around into a sense of joy or fun or connection are really important to me. But my values, I think
my
I spoke
children are
about them
tortured by that, Maya
early.
Way. My children are tortured by my positivity. Tortured because every time I'm like, let's just find a little ray of sunshine in that problem.
I love it. I love it. I think for me, my values very much sit within authenticity. I really, really value honesty and truth and people who are
Vulnerability
not
in the right place.
People who are not pretending. Creativity is incredibly important to me. I think it's a powerful way to live your life. You know, my husband got home from work really late last night and our lounge room was an explosion. And he's just like, what is happening? I'm like pointing at Liberty. I'm like, it's all her. I am not responsible at all. But yeah, it's just like, there's some of the ones that are really important to me. I don't think they have to be super intense. Like there's lots of things that are values for me. Like playfulness is really important to me.
Adventure for me.
Yeah.
Adventure. I love it.
Yeah.
And you'll find I'll always, you know, when we're trying to do something serious,
yeah.
there is a layer of playfulness because I think sometimes like life is just too short to just be intense. Like
I reckon it's nice to do that, to actually make sure we do say this in values, because they can feel like, oh my gosh, you know, the integrity and, you know, all
I
these
know,
things.
and we are talking pretty intense topics.
Come
here.
on, actually fun. I mean, we always say that about KinWomen. KinWomen, one of our values is fun. Like if we don't really love this, how else is anyone else going to love it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And if you love it, then let us know because we love hearing from you. A little ad break there.
Yeah.
So we were talking about a proverb earlier and tearing down and that sense of that wisdom builds, but the opposite really tears down. Tell me, what are some things that for you wisdom builds?
What's torn it down, or what?
Yeah, what's torn it down, like the opposite of that.
Yeah, because a woman builds her house, but she can also tear it down.
Oh, boy, we've all done it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going.
Okay.
I think the biggest one is comparing. Comparison to me, comparing myself to others, absolutely kills your sense, or can kill your sense of, like, you know, your worth, what you got to bring, what you look like, your confidence. I think it's not always easy, because even if we have a good, safe group of friends that they just think we're wonderful, I think there's a lot of voices out there that are telling us something different, and what we should attain, what we should look like, what we should have, what our children should look like. Yeah, and I just think...
And the uglier side, can I say, of comparing is judging.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
You know, when you go from just comparing to then I've got to judge and destroy the other party. Like, I just say, if you're going to do anything in your life, don't judge others.
Yeah.
Just run as far as you can from becoming the kind of person who's looking at them to compare and to judge, because you will destroy yourself and your family.
Yeah, but I think
And
the
your
reason
family.
why we often do that is to make us feel better about
Course it
ourselves.
is. Yes.
That's why I think reality TV is so popular, because you're sitting there watching this person going, what a jack, you know, and you go, what? Married at first sight. Why would you want to marry him? You know, and so you kind of, but then you're sitting in the reality of your own life and going, well, if I can pull her down and
I
him
know.
down,
I'll feel better.
That makes me feel a bit better.
And if we bring it back to the context of our home, like that sense of what we're building in our internal home, but also that sense of the place of the everyday that we live, I think.
And
I
I reckon your house can be yourself,
Yeah.
your family, your community,
Yeah.
your village or city. Even nations get marked
Yeah.
by values of pulling down, like our tall poppy one. Do you know what I mean? And you think, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
there's
wanna be that
reasons why
person.
we have really clear values and law and space where we say a belief about something, you know, like when we think about the country of Australia and the things that we value, like, you know, that is Australian or that's un-Australian, and that
Yeah.
sense of
It wouldn't
holds
pass
us.
the kitchen table test. It wouldn't pass the pub test, because that's not who we are.
We have a sense of who we are. The other one that I reckon really destroys people is slander and gossip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know, when I walk into a room and there's a table and people are all talking about something, I actually feel quite sick.
Yeah.
I think.
There's a different temperature, hey? Like, you
Yeah.
can feel a room shift.
Yeah, and if it's because, gosh, we've got to work something out, and so our friend's got a problem, that's not what I'm talking about, and we all know it. It's when we just want to gossip about someone. It's so destructive.
Yeah.
I just reckon these are the kind of little practices that you don't want to have.
I
Right?
think words is the other one for me.
Yeah, words.
Yeah,
Loose words.
Loose words. Well, part of what you just taught there, but words about what you say about yourself. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not good at that. Oh, my gosh, look at me today. Oh, oh my gosh, you know.
I'm such an idiot.
I'm such an idiot. Oh, I just look dreadful.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my hair.
Oh, Penny, I don't
this.
even like listening to that. You know, I
You know,
really don't.
The power of our tongue is what my mum used to say. So important. Now, it doesn't mean to say we go around going, oh, I'm just wonderful, you know. And
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
necessarily need to put, you know, like words on our mirror, you know. But maybe we do.
Maybe
Yeah.
we do for
Maybe
a
we do,
season.
and maybe we need to say it. You know, you got this, girl.
Yeah.
You know, you've got
Or
good
I
things
am
to
enough,
bring.
like I am confident.
as
I am-
opposed to shaming ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
Words.
can really, they can break us. They can break us.
Beautiful. Well, if you were to advise a woman on one way to strengthen her foundation, what would you recommend?
I'd say revisit them. I'd say know
Your
them.
values, you
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say revisit your values, know them, consider them. You know, bring it back to, you know, can I articulate that? If this happened, what would be the filter? What would I say is important? Am I, you know, let's say in my workplace, I'd say 2 words for myself. Am I being professional, and am I being kind?
Okay.
They're my
The ones you want to
values.
have in your workplace.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's what I hold, and I try to instill that through the stuff. I go, are you being professional? Are you being kind?
It's great.
I reckon if you get those two right, you get a
Well,
lot of the other things
always-
right. So I think revisiting them, knowing them, I
Yes.
think
Good.
is important.
That's good.
And I'd say make sure you have a way to outwork them. Like have in your head, what does that look like? Because the word could say something, but what does it look like? Because it's when you practice it, when you actually build it, that it actually becomes the strength, right? Because otherwise it could just be a brick sitting over there and it never goes into the wall. You know what I mean? Like you got to put it in the wall, and you put it into the wall by actually practicing it.
Yeah.
So, for example, if that value of loyalty for me would be if I hear someone talking about my friend, I will say something about that, and I will remove myself from the situation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to go, what would I do?
There's
How
an
do I
action.
practice it? And so I just think having ways that you practice your values are really important. That would be my... So
Yeah.
I reckon they're probably the two things for friends.
when the rubber hits the road, what does this look like?
What does it look like?
Yeah.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to bring Miss Rose in and continue this conversation in our next episode. But values are the principles that shape our choices.
Yeah.
They guide our behaviour, and they quietly influence the lives that we build each day. They help us decide what matters most and how we show up for others. And next week, we're going to get a little bit more personal and share some of the values that matter to us and how we've woven them into our lives. So keep joining us for conversations that matter, and we see you next time on KinWomen ALOUD.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us here on KinWomen ALOUD. If today's conversation resonated with you, we'd love you to subscribe, share the episode, or pass it on to someone who might need to hear it. These conversations grow when they're shared. Thank you to our sound engineer, Mark Ralph from Elemental Sound, and to our producer, Natalie Kellner from Mindful Marketing, who helps bring these conversations to life. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at KinWomen, and visit us online at kinwomen.com. Until next time, you are our kin.